I watched my life savings disappear in a cascade of champagne and white roses, while my brother made jokes about my barren womb. That's the kind of family I have. My name is Quinn, and I just spent $60,000 on someone else's wedding. Not by choice. My parents made that decision for me. Money I'd saved for 5 years, working overtime, skipping vacations, living in a shoebox apartment. Money meant for IVF treatments? Gone. To my beautiful bride, Otis raised his glass, his designer tux probably worth more than my car. And to my dear sister Quinn, he paused for dramatic effect, his trademark smirk appearing. At least this way, the world is spared another generation of her neuroses. Laughter rippled through the reception hall. I felt my cheeks burn as 300 pairs of eyes turned toward me. My mother Patricia's tinkling laugh cut the sharpest. She sat at the head table in her $1,000 dress, dabbing tears of mirth from her eyes. "Oh, lighten up, Quinn," she told me earlier when I'd confronted her about the emptied account. "Otis needed this. You know how important image is in his circles. Besides, at your age, maybe it's time to accept that motherhood isn't in God's plan for you." I gripped my champagne flute so hard I thought it might shatter. Beside me, my friend Heidi squeezed my arm. "We can leave," she whispered. "Right now." But I couldn't move, couldn't breathe, couldn't process how my own family could be so cruel. The wedding venue sparkled with crystal chandeliers and imported flowers, all paid for with my dreams of becoming a mother. "Speech! Speech!" someone called out. The crowd turned expectantly toward me. Of course, the maid of honor's traditional duty. I stood slowly, my legs shaking. "Congratulations, Otis and Cameron," I managed, raising my glass. "I hope this marriage gives you everything you deserve." The crowd seemed disappointed by my brevity, but I couldn't stay there another second. I grabbed my purse and fled, ignoring my mother's sharp "Quinn" behind me. The drive home was a blur. My apartment felt smaller than ever, suffocating with the weight of betrayal. I threw my keys onto the counter, where they landed on a stack of mail I'd been avoiding. Old statements from my parents' accountant, forwarded from their address, probably more manipulation attempts to help me organize my finances. I almost tossed them straight into the recycling, but something made me pause. Maybe it was the universe throwing me a lifeline, or maybe just morbid curiosity about what other ways they'd tried to control my life. The first few envelopes contained exactly what I expected: passive-aggressive suggestions about better money management and family financial planning. But the last envelope made my blood run cold. It was a loan agreement from 5 years ago for Otis's failed health drink company, Bloom, a business I'd explicitly refused to invest in because the numbers didn't add up. Yet there was my signature at the bottom, guaranteeing a loan for $200,000. Except it wasn't my signature. Not really. I'd spent 15 years in finance. I knew my own signature better than my face. This one was close, frighteningly close, but the loop in the Q was wrong. The tail of the N curved up instead of down. My hands started shaking as the pieces clicked into place. The weird questions about my banking details back then. The routine paperwork they'd insisted I'd signed but couldn't remember. The way they'd stopped asking me to invest in Otis's ventures. They'd forged my signature. My own family had committed fraud in my name. I sank to the floor, the paper crumpling in my grip. Tears burned my eyes, but they weren't sad tears anymore. This was rage, pure, clarifying rage. My phone buzzed. A text from Heidi. "You okay? That wedding was brutal. Want me to come over?" I stared at the message for a long moment, then at the forged signature. 5 years ago, they'd stolen my financial security. Today, they'd stolen my chance at motherhood. And they'd laughed about it. I typed back, "Actually, yes. Bring wine. I need your help planning something." The loan document felt heavy in my hands. They thought they could take everything from me because I was the quiet one, the responsible one, the one who always cleaned up their messes. But they'd forgotten something crucial. I wasn't just their doormat anymore. I was a woman with nothing left to lose, and I knew exactly where all their bodies were buried. "You remember Bloom, right?" Heidi asked, pouring her 3rd glass of wine. We sat cross-legged on my living room floor, surrounded by old documents. "That ridiculous luxury wellness drink your brother tried launching? How could I forget? Organic mushroom extracts and activated charcoal, marketed to rich housewives at $50 a bottle. I shuffled through papers, piecing together the timeline. Otis claimed it would revolutionize the health industry. And instead, it revolutionized how fast someone could burn through investor money, Heidi snorted. Whatever happened with that anyway? I pulled out my laptop, logging into my old email account. Let me show you something interesting. 5 years ago, March 15th. Family dinner at my parents' house. The email I'd sent to myself that night popped up. Note to self, refuse to invest in Bloom. Numbers don't add up. Otis angry. Mum says I'm being difficult. Don't let them pressure me. I wrote this right after they first pitched me the investment opportunity. I told them absolutely not. I grabbed the forged loan document. 2 weeks later this happened, but I never knew about it until now. Heidi leaned forward, squinting at the signature. Holy shit, Quinn, that's actually criminal. Want to know the best part? I pulled up my banking app. Remember last month when I couldn't figure out why my credit score had dropped? Look what just showed up. A new notification blinked red. Urgent. Payment past due. Business loan. To 7891. They're coming after you for the money? Heidi's voice rose in disbelief. After what they just did with your IVF savings? My phone buzzed. Speaking of devils, a text from my mother. Quinny, darling, are you still upset about the wedding? You're being dramatic. Call me. I ignored it. They think I'm weak, Heidi. They've always thought that. The quiet daughter who'll roll over and take whatever they dish out. So what's the play here? Heidi grabbed a notepad. We could go to the police right now. That's fraud, plain and simple. I shook my head. Not yet. First, I want to see how far they'll go to cover this up. The bank will contact them soon about the missed payments. Let's see what story they spin. You're going to let them dig their own grave, Heidi smiled slowly. I like it. But what about the wedding video? The one where Otis basically admits stealing your IVF money? Already downloaded and backed up to 3 different clouds. I pulled up the clip on my phone. Otis's drunk voice crystal clear. Poor Quinn's egg fund paid for the caviar. But hey, better spent on my happy day than her sad little baby dreams, right? Heidi's face darkened. Your brother's a monster. They all are. And they're about to learn exactly what happens when you back a monster into a corner. I reached for my phone as it buzzed again, this time with an official-looking email. Dear Ms. Grant, this letter is to inform you of severe delinquency on business loan MALMU 247891. Please contact our collections department immediately. Sincerely, Roman Jackson, Senior Collections Officer. Perfect timing, I murmured. Now we wait. For what? For them to realize they can't ignore this anymore. The bank won't stop at just me. They'll investigate everyone connected to that loan. And when they do... I trailed off as another text came through, this time from Otis. Quinn, call Mum and Dad right now. Something weird is happening with the bank. Don't talk to anyone until we figure this out. Heidi read the text over my shoulder and whistled. They're panicking. Good. I started gathering the documents into a folder. Because this is just the beginning. I'm going to take everything from them, Heidi. Their money, their reputation, their precious social standing. By the time I'm done, they'll wish they'd never touched my IVF fund. What do you need from me? Help me document everything. Every text, every email, every voicemail. I want a paper trail so detailed it'll make an accountant weep. My phone lit up again. My father this time. Princess, we need to discuss some old paperwork. Nothing to worry about. Call us. I showed Heidi the message. See? They still think they can control this narrative. Still think their difficult daughter will fall in line. They have no idea what's coming, do they? No, I smiled, picking up the forged loan document. But they're about to find out that blood isn't always thicker than fraud. Another email notification popped up. This one addressed to my parents' home, but forwarded to me automatically. The subject line made my heart race. Final notice. Immediate action required. Game on. Quinny, there's been a terrible mistake. My mother's voice dripped honey through the phone. The bank is confused about some old paperwork. You'll help us sort it out, won't you? I kept my voice carefully neutral. What kind of paperwork? Oh, just some silly loan document from Otis's old business venture. They seem to think you're involved somehow. You must have forgotten signing it. I gripped my desk at work, catching Heidi's eye across the office. She gave me a thumbs up. That's strange, Mum. I specifically remember refusing to sign anything for Bloom. A pause. Well, memories can be tricky, darling. Your father and I clearly remember you agreeing to help. You were so supportive of Otis back then. Was I? Like how I was supportive of his wedding? Another pause. Longer this time. Now, Quinn, don't start that again. We've been through this. The money went to a good cause. My IVF fund wasn't yours to spend. Quinny, I have to go, Mum. I have a meeting. I hung up before she could respond and immediately texted Heidi. They're sticking to the she must have forgotten story. Heidi appeared at my desk minutes later. I found something interesting about that loan. Remember Otis's ex-girlfriend Amanda? She worked at the bank when the loan was processed. My eyebrows shot up. The one he dated right before Cameron? The same. Want to guess who processed the paperwork? I was already pulling up LinkedIn. Amanda's profile showed her employment history, including her sudden departure from the bank right after the loan was approved. Got her? There's more. Heidi lowered her voice. I had my IT friend do some digging. The wedding photographer uploaded all the raw footage to a cloud drive, including stuff that didn't make the final cut. She pulled out her phone and played a video. The image was slightly shaky, but the audio was clear. Otis stood with Cameron and some friends, champagne in hand. And I had to raid poor Quinn's egg fund for the caterer. His voice slurred slightly. She's been hoarding money for years, trying to buy herself a baby. Like throwing good money after bad, right? Some people just aren't meant to be parents. Cameron's distinctive laugh rang out. Oh my God, that's horrible. But the food was amazing. I felt sick. Send me that footage. Already did. What's your next move? Before I could answer, my phone buzzed. Roman Jackson from the bank. I answered, putting it on speaker. Ms. Grant? I'm calling about some concerning information we've received regarding loan 27891. Yes, Mr. Jackson? We've had multiple parties contact us claiming there might be irregularities with the signature. Would you be willing to come in and discuss this? I caught Heidi's eye. Actually, I've been gathering some documentation about that loan myself. When would be a good time to meet? We set up an appointment for the following day. As soon as I hung up, my phone exploded with texts from Otis. What the hell, Quinn? The bank just froze our accounts. Cameron's cards aren't working. Call me now. I showed Heidi the messages. Looks like the bank's taking this seriously. Good. She grinned. Oh, and one more thing. I may have anonymously sent some of that wedding footage to a few of Otis's business partners, the ones who invested in his new startup. My phone buzzed again, this time with an email notification. The subject line read, Immediate termination of investment agreement. Heidi, you didn't. I did. Those venture capitalists apparently don't appreciate executives who brag about stealing from their infertile sisters. For the first time since the wedding, I felt a smile tugging at my lips. Mum's going to have a meltdown when she realizes her precious son is losing his investors. Right on cue, my mother's number flashed on my screen. I declined the call and watched as she immediately sent a text. Quinn, please. We need to talk. Your father and I never meant for any of this to happen. We can explain everything. Too late, I muttered, turning my phone face down. 5 years too late. Heidi perched on my desk. You know they're going to show up at your apartment tonight, right? Let them. I've got a nice folder of forged documents ready for them to see, plus a police report I haven't filed yet. The threat of criminal charges should make them squirm. I nodded, pulling up the wedding video one more time. Otis's cruel laughter echoed from my speakers. They thought they could steal my chance at motherhood and humiliate me in front of everyone I know. And now? Now they get to learn what real humiliation feels like. I checked my calendar for tomorrow's bank meeting. One signature at a time. The doorbell rang at exactly 7 p.m. I'd been expecting them. Quinn, open this door right now. My mother's voice carried through the wood. We know you're home. I took my time walking to the door, deliberately letting them stew. When I opened it, they burst in like they owned the place. My mother in her designer outfit, my father looking uncomfortable in his golf clothes, and Otis in a rumpled business suit. "What did you say to the bank?" Otis demanded, his face red. "Do you have any idea what you've done? My investors are pulling out." I settled onto my couch, calm as still water. "I haven't said anything to anyone. Yet." "Don't play games!" my mother snapped. "Your brother's accounts are frozen. Cameron's threatening to leave him. All because you're being spiteful about a little loan you agreed to years ago." "Did I?" I reached for the folder on my coffee table. "That's interesting, because I have an email from March 15th, 5 years ago, explicitly refusing to sign anything for Bloom." My father shifted uncomfortably. "Princess, sometimes we forget things. Like how you forgot to ask before stealing my IVF savings." I pulled out the wedding video transcript. Or how Otis forgot he was being recorded when he bragged about using my egg fund for his caviar. The colour drained from Otis's face. "You recorded that?" "I didn't have to. Your wedding photographer did. Amazing what people capture when you think no one's watching." My mother stepped forward, switching tactics. "Darling, we're family. Whatever mistakes were made, we can work this out privately. There's no need to involve banks and investors." "Family," I laughed, the sound sharp enough to make her flinch. "Was it family when you forged my signature? When you made me a guarantor for a loan I explicitly refused? Or when you laughed at your son mocking my infertility in front of 300 people? That was just a joke. Here's what's going to happen." I pulled out another document. "This is a police report for fraud, currently unfiled. I'm giving you one chance to make this right." Otis lunged forward. "You wouldn't dare. Try me." I met his eyes. "How do you think your new investors will react when they learn you're under investigation for fraud? How many country club memberships accept felons, Mum?" My father sank into a chair. "What do you want?" "Everything. The loan amount, plus the IVF money, plus interest, and a public apology." "That's ridiculous," my mother sputtered. "We don't have that kind of money." "Then I guess you'd better start selling things. Maybe that vacation house in the Hamptons, or your precious art collection." My phone buzzed, a text from Roman Jackson. "Ms. Grant, after reviewing the evidence you provided, we're preparing to launch a formal investigation. Would you like to press charges?" I showed them the message. "Clock's ticking." "You'd really do this to your own family?" Otis's voice cracked. "Destroy everything we've built?" "No, Otis, you did that. The moment you decided my dreams were worth less than your wedding cake." I stood up. "You have 48 hours to transfer the full amount. After that, I stop playing nice." "Quinn, please." My mother tried one last time. "Think about what this will do to our reputation." "I am thinking about it. That's the point." I opened my door. "Now, get out of my apartment." "Oh, and Mom? That charity board you're so proud of being on? They received an anonymous video of Otis's wedding toast this morning. Might want to check your email." They left in stunned silence. As soon as the door closed, I texted Heidi. "Phase 1 complete. They took the bait." She replied instantly. "How'd they take it?" Like entitled people suddenly realizing their actions have consequences. My phone lit up with a call from Roman Jackson. I answered, my voice steady. "Ms. Grant, I've reviewed everything you sent. The signature analysis, the email trail, the wedding video. This is serious fraud." "I know. We're prepared to remove your name from the loan immediately, but we'll need your cooperation for the investigation." I smiled, watching through my window as my family argued in the parking lot. "Mr. Jackson, I think it's time we had a proper meeting. There's more you should know." "Tomorrow morning?" "Perfect." I hung up and pulled up the wedding video one more time. Otis's cruel joke about my infertility played back, but this time it didn't hurt, because now I had something better than their love or approval. I had leverage. Roman Jackson's office was exactly what you'd expect from a senior bank officer, all mahogany and leather, designed to intimidate. But today, he was the one who looked uncomfortable. "Ms. Grant, this evidence is disturbing." He spread the documents across his desk. "The forged signature, the wedding video, the email trail, your brother's ex-girlfriend's involvement while she worked here. It's all very damning." I know. I sat straight backed in the visitor's chair. The question is, what are you going to do about it? He leaned forward. Legally, we're obligated to report fraud of this magnitude. Your family could face serious criminal charges. Could? Unless, he paused, studying me. Unless the victim, you, has another solution in mind. I pulled out my own folder. Actually, I do. But first, I need to show you something else. I handed him a USB drive. Security footage from my brother's new office. He's been moving company funds through personal accounts to dodge taxes. Might want to pay attention to timestamps around 2:15. Roman's eyebrows shot up as he watched. This is extensive. My friend works in IT. Amazing what people leave on cloud servers. I smiled thinly. I'm not interested in pressing criminal charges. Yet. What I want is leverage. I'm listening? Remove my name from the loan. Transfer all liability to them. Let them feel the weight of their decisions. He nodded slowly. That's actually more merciful than what the law prescribes. Oh, I'm not being merciful. I'm being strategic. My phone buzzed. A text from Heidi. It's done. Left everything exactly where you said. Perfect timing. I turned back to Roman. Check your email in about 10 minutes. You'll receive an anonymous tip about some interesting documents at my parents' house. The forged signature samples, and an unfiled police report. Let's see how they handle the pressure of knowing I could end them at any moment. Roman sat back, a hint of admiration in his eyes. You've thought this through. They stole my chance at motherhood, used my savings to fund a wedding where they mocked my infertility. Trust me, I've had time to think. My phone lit up again, Otis calling. I showed Roman the screen. Want to watch them squirm? I answered on speaker. Yes. Quinn, what the hell? Otis's voice shook. I just found... Are you trying to send us to jail? I don't know what you're talking about. The signature samples. The police report. Don't play dumb. Oh, you mean evidence of your fraud? Funny how that works. Please, his voice cracked. Cameron's already moved out. The investors are gone. What more do you want? Everything you took from me, plus interest. You have 24 hours left. Or what? Or I stop being nice. I hung up and turned to Roman. How long before they received the official bank notices? He checked his computer. They should be delivered this afternoon. Full fraud investigation, account freezes, the works. Good. I stood up. Keep me updated on their response. And Roman? Thank you for seeing through their act. Thank you for bringing this to light. We're investigating several other loans processed during that period now. As I left his office, my phone exploded with notifications. My mother had been removed from her charity board position. The wedding video had gone viral in local business circles. Otis's company stock was plummeting. I texted Heidi, how's the media coverage looking? Like a forest fire. 3 business journals want statements about financial abuse in families. The fertility clinic wants to feature your story in their newsletter. Another call came in. My father this time. I let it go to voicemail, then played it on speaker. Princess, please, your mother's hysterical. We can fix this. We'll sell whatever we need to. Just don't do this to us. We're family. I deleted the message and typed out a single text to all of them. Family doesn't forge signatures. Family doesn't steal dreams. You have 24 hours to transfer everything, or the police get every document I have. Your choice. Heidi called moments later. Quinn, you need to see this. They're trying to transfer their assets to offshore accounts. I smiled. Already flagged those accounts to the bank this morning. Every move they make just digs their hole deeper. You really thought of everything, didn't you? They taught me well. I watched another email notification pop up. More investors pulling out of Otis's company. After all, I learned from the best about how to destroy someone completely. The difference was, I was going to do it legally, and they'd never see the final blow coming. The video of Otis's wedding toast went viral overnight. By morning, my mother's carefully curated social media was flooded with comments about toxic families and financial abuse. Otis's business partners couldn't distance themselves fast enough. Your brother's company stock dropped 70%, Heidi reported, scrolling through her phone. And Cameron just posted that she's taking time to reevaluate her life choices. I sip my coffee, watching my inbox fill with interview requests. How's my mother handling the charity board fallout? Not well. She tried to spin it as a family misunderstanding, but then someone leaked the loan documents. She's been asked to resign from 3 more organizations. My phone buzzed. Cameron calling. That was unexpected. Quinn? Can we meet? Alone? Her voice sounded different, stripped of its usual smugness. There's something you should know. An hour later, I sat across from her at a quiet cafe. Her designer clothes couldn't hide how exhausted she looked. I'm leaving Otis, she said without preamble, filing for annulment. I had no idea about the fraud, Quinn, or that your money paid for the wedding. Really? Because the video shows you laughing at his jokes about my infertility. She flinched. I know, I was horrible, but after everything came out, she pulled out her phone, showing me bank statements. Look what I found. He's been embezzling from his company for months, using the money to pay off gambling debts. Now that was interesting. Does anyone else know? Not yet, but I'm meeting with the company board tomorrow. She pushed an envelope across the table. Here's your wedding money back. I sold my engagement ring. I stared at the check. Why? Because I was wrong, and because karma's coming for all of them. She stood up. Good luck, Quinn. I hope you get your baby someday. After she left, I texted Heidi. Got another bomb to drop. How's that journalist friend of yours? The story broke that afternoon. Tech CEO caught in embezzlement scandal. Sister's IVF fund among stolen assets. Otis's face plastered across business news sites. Cameron's damning testimony featured prominently. My parents showed up at my office unannounced, looking desperate. Make it stop, my mother pleaded, mascara streaking her cheeks. We'll pay whatever you want. Just call off the investigators. I kept typing at my computer, not looking up. Funny how money matters when it's yours being taken? We made a mistake, my father said. We'll make it right. Like you made right by me? I finally turned to face them. Let's talk about mistakes, like forging my signature, stealing my savings, mocking my infertility. We have a cashier's check, my mother pulled it out. Everything you asked for, plus extra. Just, please. I took the check, reading the memo line. For family peace. Family peace? I laughed. No, try again. Write exactly what this is for. Quinn, be reasonable. Write it, or I call Roman right now. With shaking hands, my mother amended the check's memo line. For childless silence, exox. Perfect. I snapped a photo and posted it directly to Twitter. There's your family peace. They left in shocked silence. Minutes later, my phone rang. Roman Jackson. The bank has officially removed your name from the loan, he said, and we're opening a formal investigation into your brother's company finances. Good. I forwarded him Cameron's evidence. You'll want to see this too. By evening, Otis's company board had called an emergency meeting. He was suspended pending investigation. Cameron's divorce attorney was already circling. My mother's social circle imploded as decades of carefully hidden scandals surfaced. Anonymous tips about tax evasion, charity fund mismanagement, all the secrets she'd used to maintain her power. You're destroying them, Heidi observed as we watched the news coverage. No, I corrected her. They destroyed themselves. I'm just making sure everyone sees it. My phone chimed with a text from Otis. You won. Happy now? You've ruined everything. I typed back, not everything, just the things you stole. Then I blocked their numbers, all of them. Let them watch their empire crumble without being able to reach me, to manipulate me, to guilt me into saving them one more time. What now? Heidi asked. I pulled up a website I'd been researching, a fertility clinic specializing in donor embryo adoption. Now, I build something new, something they can't touch. The consultation appointment was already scheduled for next week. My family had tried to steal my dream of motherhood. Instead, they'd just shown me exactly how strong I could be without them. The courthouse hallway felt colder than it should have in August. I sat on a hard wooden bench, watching my family huddle with their lawyers. My mother's designer outfit couldn't hide her defeat. Otis's expensive suit looked wrinkled, like he'd slept in it. My father just looked old. All rise, the bailiff called. Inside the courtroom, Cameron sat on the prosecution's side, clutching a folder of bank statements. She nodded slightly when she saw me. Roman Jackson sat nearby, his own stack of evidence ready. Your Honour, the prosecutor began, we have clear evidence of multiple instances of fraud, including forged signatures, embezzlement, and misappropriation of funds. My mother's lawyer tried to interrupt. Your Honour, if we could discuss a settlement. The time for settlements was before this reached my courtroom. The judge cut in. She turned to me. Ms. Grant, I understand you have a statement? I stood, smoothing my conservative black dress. Yes, Your Honour. Walking to the podium, I pulled out my phone. Before I begin, I'd like to play something. The wedding video filled the courtroom's screens. Otis's voice rang out crystal clear. Poor Quinn's egg fund paid for the caviar. But hey, better spent on my happy day than her sad little baby dreams, right? Laughter from the video. My mother's distinctive giggle cut through the silence. I stopped the video. That was my brother, mocking my infertility at his wedding. A wedding paid for with money stolen from my IVF fund. I turned to face them directly. But that was just the latest theft. Pulling out the forged loan document, I continued. 5 years ago, they forged my signature to secure a business loan. When that business failed, they tried to saddle me with the debt. When I discovered the fraud, they tried to guilt me into silence. Because that's what family does, right? My mother wiped away tears. Fake ones, I was sure. But this isn't about money anymore. This is about women being robbed of their choices by the very people who should protect them. About mothers who destroy their daughters' chance at motherhood. About brothers who treat infertility as a punchline. The judge leaned forward. And what outcome are you seeking today? Justice, Your Honour, not revenge, just consequences for their actions. Cameron stepped up next, detailing Otis's embezzlement. Roman presented the bank's evidence of fraud. My parents' lawyer looked increasingly desperate. Your Honour, my mother suddenly burst out, we're family. We can work this out privately. Mrs. Grant. The judge's voice cracked like a whip. Family status does not exempt you from the law. The verdict came swiftly. Otis. Guilty of fraud and embezzlement. 2 years probation, hefty fines, community service. My parents, guilty of fraud and financial abuse. Probation, mandatory restitution, community service. But the real punishment was in the details. They were ordered to repay every penny they'd stolen, plus interest. Their assets would be monitored. Their reputations, already in tatters, would never recover. Outside the courthouse, Otis caught up to me. You destroyed this family, he snarled. I turned slowly. No, Otis. You did that the moment you made my womb a punchline. Quinn, please. My mother tried one last time. We can still fix this. Fix what? My trust? My faith in family? Or just your reputation? My father stepped forward. Princess, don't. I held up my hand. You don't get to call me that anymore. You don't get to call me anything. Heidi appeared at my side, along with Roman. A wall of protection I hadn't asked for but desperately appreciated. It's over, I said simply. You're not my family anymore. You're just people who share my DNA, and that's not enough. What about forgiveness? My mother pleaded. Some things can't be forgiven. Some wounds don't heal. I turned away. Goodbye. Walking down those courthouse steps, I felt lighter than I had in years. My phone buzzed. An email from the fertility clinic confirming my consultation. You okay? Heidi asked softly. Better than okay. I showed her the email. I'm starting over, building my own family. Without them? Without them. I looked back at the courthouse where my former family stood defeated. Some people think blood is everything, but they're wrong. Roman touched my shoulder. The bank's fraud department would like to offer you a position, by the way. We could use someone with your attention to detail. I smiled. I'll think about it. The sun felt warm on my face as we walked away. Behind me, I could hear my mother crying, Otis arguing with his lawyer, my father's heavy silence. But for the first time in my life, their drama wasn't my problem. I had a different future to build. Are you sure about this? Heidi asked, helping me unpack boxes in my new house. It wasn't huge, but it had a yard and a room painted soft yellow, perfect for a nursery. More sure than I've ever been. I pulled out a framed photo from my fertility support group. Besides, I'm not doing this alone anymore. My phone buzzed with a video call from Jake, a single dad I'd met in the group. His toddler daughter's face filled the screen. Chocolate ice cream smeared across her cheeks. "Say hi to Quinn," Jake prompted. "Hi, Quinn." Sophie waved sticky fingers at the camera. "When you coming to play?" "Soon, sweetie. We have a park date tomorrow, remember?" After connecting over shared stories of family drama and fertility struggles, Jake and I had developed an unexpected friendship. When he mentioned wanting a sibling for Sophie, but struggling as a single parent, something clicked. We weren't looking for romance. We were looking for partnership, for family built on choice rather than obligation. The doorbell rang. Roman Jackson stood outside, holding a thick envelope. "Thought you'd want to see this in person," he said, stepping inside. "The final paperwork from the bank's investigation. Your name is officially cleared, and we've identified 3 other cases of similar fraud from when your brother's ex worked there." "Any word on my family?" "Your brother's working at a warehouse on the outskirts of town. Your parents sold their house, downgraded significantly. Your mother's been volunteering at a women's shelter as part of her community service." I raised an eyebrow. "Bet she loves that." "Actually," Roman shuffled through some papers, "her supervisor says she's been surprisingly dedicated, especially with financial abuse cases." "Karma's funny that way," Heidi commented. My phone chimed with an email notification from the fertility clinic. I opened it with trembling fingers. "The donor embryo transfer is scheduled," I breathed. "Next month. You ready?" Heidi squeezed my hand. "More than ready. Jake's coming with me for support. We've already worked out the co-parenting agreement if it takes." Roman smiled. "You've built something remarkable here, Quinn, from the ashes of what they destroyed." Speaking of building, I pulled out a business card. I've been consulting with other fraud victims, helping them recognize the signs, gather evidence. Turns out my experience has value. "The bank's offer still stands," Roman reminded me. "Head of our new family fraud prevention unit." "I know. I'm accepting." I looked around my new home, at the life I was choosing. But on my terms this time. The doorbell rang again. Jake and Sophie bounded in, bringing the chaos of toddler energy and take-out dinner. "We brought celebration food," Sophie announced, holding up a bag. "Daddy says you got good news." "The best news," I scooped her up, breathing in her baby shampoo scent. "Want to help me set up the yellow room?" "Is that where the baby will sleep? When I get a brother or sister?" "Maybe. We'll see what happens." As Sophie dragged Jake upstairs to inspect the room, Heidi helped unpack the food. "You know," she said quietly, "this is better than revenge. You didn't just survive them. You're thriving without them." My phone buzzed one last time. A text from Cameron. "Thought you should know. Your mother's been sharing your story at the shelter, teaching women to protect themselves from financial abuse. Maybe something good came from all this, after all." I showed Heidi the message. "Redemption comes in strange ways." "Are you ever going to forgive them?" "No," I said honestly, "but I'm going to build something better than forgiveness. I'm going to build a family that doesn't need it." Sophie's laughter echoed from upstairs, followed by Jake's playful roar. Roman was sorting through take-out containers while Heidi arranged furniture. Through the window, I could see my new neighbours waving as they walked their dog. This was my family now. Not bound by blood or obligation, but by choice and love and second chances. My hand rested on my stomach, imagining the possibility growing there next month. The future I'd fought for, won back, rebuilt from scratch. "Quinn!" Sophie called from upstairs. "Come see, we found the perfect spot for the crib." I headed up the stairs, leaving behind the weight of my old family's expectations. They'd tried to steal my dreams of motherhood, but they'd failed. Because family isn't who shares your blood. It's who helps you build something beautiful from the broken pieces. And my new family? We were just getting started. "Coming, sweetie," I called back, stepping into the yellow room filled with possibility. "Show me everything."